very good evening from Goodison Park as Everton take on Manchester City. And just as we come to air, the team's coming out of the tunnel. You're live here on JB Sports, TCL itself, TCL 2, Focus on Football and Storm FM. If you have subscriptions to any of those channels, you can listen to us if you don't fancy having the Amazon Prime commentators on. And we also have crowd noise, thanks to our good friends at Amazon. As the teams come out here, the Z-Cast been playing in the background. You ain't got just one commentator tonight, you've got two. We've got a co-commentator, Paul James. We'll bring him in a minute or two once we've gone through the lineups and formations and the officials tonight. Manchester City in maroon, all maroon tonight. No Haaland, no De Bruyne, as you already know, both injured as well. You boos as well, the Manchester City players as well. But Everton on a very good run, unbeaten in the last four at Goodison Park, if you include the draw against Fulham in the League Cup, although they technically lost it on penalties last week. That doesn't really matter. Anyway, their lineup as follows: Jordan Pickford, the England goalkeepers in goal. And then it's Patterson, Branthwaite, Tarkowski and Mikalenko. Then it's Gomez and Onana, two anchor men in midfield. Harrison, Garner and McNeil, the former Burnley player, in the further forward. And Beto gets the striking role ahead of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. On the bench, Virginia, Keane, Calvert-Lewin, Danjuma, Ben Godfrey, Seamus Coleman, the actual club captain, Shamenti, Mackenzie Hunt and Lewis Dobbin. They're going to play a 4-2-3-1, which is a heck of a lot different to what Sean Dyche used to play at Burnley once upon a time. Right, let's check on Manchester City. Of course, no De Bruyne for injury and no Haaland, but they do have Edison in goal, the Brazilian. Back four of Walker, Stones, Akanji and Ake. And then a three-man midfield with Silva, Rodri and Nunes. And then three men up front, Foden on the right, Alvarez in the middle, and Grealish on the left. On the bench, Ortega, Phillips, Kovacic, Gomez, Rabiot, Oscar Bob, Suzuki, who could make his debut tonight, along with Micah Hamilton. The other substitute is Rico Lewis. Terrific atmosphere here. Very cold here. And by the way, season's greetings to you all, by the way, from everybody here at the TCL. Paul James alongside me tonight as Sean Dyche shakes Pep Guardiola's hand. Just before I bring Paul in, let me give you the officials tonight as Manchester City hobble in their white shirts and maroon shorts, I should say, sporting their new FIFA badges because they won the Club World Cup last week. And now I know we're just going to pause for a second before we're just going to pause for a minute because there's a lot of Evertonians that have passed over the last year, including their chairman Bill Kenwright. So we're going to just pause for a second as the Evertonians do a minute's pause for all the Everton family that have been lost in the past 12 months. And it's good to see former Evertonians, whether they're ex-players, managers, chairmen, or supporters, remembered that way. Manchester City now back in their huddle again, Everton in blue. Let me just check the officials before I give Paul James, bring Paul James in. The referees, John Brooks from the land of the pork pie, Melton Mowbray, Lee Betts and Adrian Holmes are his two linesmen. And to determine the fourth official and VAR, if required, is David Coote. Everton are going to kick off and some of the players will take the knee to just represent all 22 players plus referee Brooks will take the knee. And on the second whistle, he will get the game up and running here at Goodison Park. And away we go then, here at Goodison Park. A terrific atmosphere, as it always is on an atmosphere like this. And McNeil heading the ball forward straight away. Aki away for City. Jack Harrison, formerly of Leeds, gets the ball in there. And Patterson crosses in there. And Beto with an early header, which drifts out of play. And Paul James is alongside me tonight, fresh from doing Burnley against Liverpool last night. We won't talk about that too much, Paul, but what a game this promises to be.
Oh, yes, and it's a Herculean challenge for Everton. They haven't won a game against City in the last 12 and have been outscored 31 in the last 5 games. So it's a massive game for Sean Dyche and his bid to stave off relegation. And City, of course, need to win to get themselves back into the top 4. So it's going to be a huge game today.
Yeah, with Villa losing last night, it's a real opportunity for Pep Guardiola to really close the gap there as we look at Sean Dyche there, what Burnley fans used to call the Ginger Mourinho, of course. But, we did their last game against Burnley the other week. We'll just break off for a second as McNeil chips the ball forward and it's headed away by Akanji. City break again with Foden. They find Bernardo Silva here. City, of course, wearing those FIFA badges, as I said, because they won the FIFA World Cup Championships before Christmas. A nice little Christmas present for their supporters. We're seeing the trophies coming in left, right and centre after so many years of the trophies going to the other side of Manchester. As Walker now takes it from Manchester City, finds Bernardo Silva, right on side, chips the ball in. And in fact, the corresponding fixture I did last year, it was on the 14th of May, City won 3-0. But 2 of those goals were scored by Erling Haaland, who isn't here for this corresponding fixture this year. And we'll be checking on all the other scores as we get them as well. And we'll be reading your comments throughout the night as well on all the social media platforms we have on the TCO. So we'll be checking in on your comments. And Paul, we did the game at Turf Moor the other week against Everton. Well, let's go with Everton against Burnley the other week. As Bernardo comes in, McNeil intercepts. And Everton really stifled Burnley because they knew that they were going to do a Manchester City and play out from the back, Burnley. Do you reckon Sean Dyche might employ the same tactics even though they're at home tonight? Let's just break up. Before you answer that, let's just see Rodri coming forward, finding Grealish. Been non-stop. We can't even bring Paul in at this stage. It's been non-stop. City having possession, but we'll bring you in now, Paul. And if there's anything does happen, we'll interrupt.
Yeah, I think Sean Dyche will definitely try to adopt the same tactics. It's something that Sean Dyche does. What's familiar with his team is always a very physical, strong team. And I think he'll probably adopt the same style of tactics against Manchester City. I don't know whether that will be good. The best tactics I've seen effective against Manchester City is to press them, to be honest. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and Everton in good form at home. Of course, they've beaten Chelsea quite easily, beaten Newcastle here. And so very unlucky to go at the Carabao the other week against Fulham. That's on a penalty. Less said, soon as mended. Here's Grealish breaking into the penalty area. Crosses it in there. Big chance now. Shot forward by Alvarez. Good save from Pickford. And then the block on the second attempt. I think Foden tried to get it in on the second attempt. Now Beto chasing a lost course for Everton. The ball back with Ederson. Beto just touched him a little bit. I think he just ran into him more than anything else, more than momentum. But Manchester City, Paul at the start, showing that they may well mean business, and it could be a long night for Jordan Pickford on the back 4.
Yeah, it's to be honest with you, it's to be expected by City. They got behind the Everton back 4 there and forced a decent save out of Jordan Pickford. And Everton have the 4th best defence in the league despite their position right now. And that's what, so Manchester City are not going to find it easy tonight.
No, but we were discussing at Turf Moor the other week in the game between Burnley and Everton that if they hadn't had that 10-point deduction, they'd be, they're on now 16 points, so they'd be on 26. They'd be literally where Brighton and Bournemouth are now, which is a shame from their point of view because they have been on a very, very good run. Okay, they've had 1 defeat in the last out of 4. In the last 5, they have had that defeat at Tottenham, but it was a battling defeat. Here's Walker now on the right-hand side. Into the area it goes. Foden inside the area. 7-8 Everton defenders back. And here is Walker again on the right-hand side. Ball played in there to Bernardo Silva. But again, good, stout Everton defending from the Sean Dyche model. And the ball up towards Beto, who's been a bit of a success. Beto has scored only 3 goals in all competitions. Admittedly, he broke his duck in a League Cup game at Doncaster earlier this season. But he does look lively. And of course, when you've got a huge turnover of games, remember, Everton have got a very busy fixture. I mean, 2 fixtures time, they've got to play a Thursday night FA Cup tie away at Crystal Palace, which doesn't really help matters, really. But, I mean, what do you think? FA Cup third round on a Thursday night?
I hate it. I hate it.
I mean, I understand why they're doing it, but it takes a little bit of the romance out of the FA Cup, really. But there's
it's
no
a
reason.
horrible thing. It's a horrible thing. I'll be honest with you, JB. I don't like this. I know the TV has the contracts and can show the games, but I think, to be perfectly honest, FA Cup games on a Thursday night, a replay maybe, but the third round proper games should be played at the weekend. It shouldn't be played on a Thursday night, and something like that as well. It's quite a distance for the fans to travel, so I don't think it's right at all, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they're away at Crystal Palace in that competition, and I have to agree with you there, Paul. There has been talk actually in the next season of scrapping the replays for rounds 3 and 4, and then maybe putting the 5th round back from midweek back to a weekend. I would be in favour of the second one. I still think you should have replays in rounds 3 and 4. I know there's a packed fixture schedule to fit in, but I would rather have the rounds 3 and 4 still have replays, because if you get a smaller club and they get a draw out of it against a big boy, that extra revenue comes in handy. But anyway, back to the Premier League, and a good challenge there by Mikolenko, or Brentford, I should say, gets Manchester City their first corner of the game. 7.5 minutes gone here on all TCL platforms. And in the last few weeks, we've included Paul's brand new channel, Focus on Football. And nice to welcome that to the TCL family of channels. We're also live on JB Sports. Bit of an unorthodox corner. It's quite a lot. There's been horrible weather up in the northwest today, of course. As the shot comes in from Walker. Did it deflect? It did. It's a corner, but there has been some horrible weather, as I said, in the northwest in the last 48 hours. High winds and quite a lot of rain around. That could make things a bit tricky tonight, Paul. If you look at that, I mean, you just look at the wind. Let's just look at the actual wind on the shirts.
Oh yeah, this will make it interesting, especially with the grease on the pitch, with a little bit of the rain. It's going to make it very, very interesting tonight, and it'll work, I think, in City's favour. Certainly
in the first half. Anyway, here's Grealish, takes the ball over there, and then the ball comes over to the far side. Again, a great boost for City to have Rodri back in their side, because he has been missing for some of the season, which hasn't helped their cause. That's why they're lying in 5th in the table. But with Villa slipping up from a 2-goal lead, by the way, last night, it's presented a great opportunity. But they can go into the top 4 with a win tonight. Everton could go actually as far as 15th, highest 15th, with a win here this evening. So plenty of incentive for Everton to move forward. They are a point ahead of Luton Town, who, it's fair to say, got very lucky at Sheffield United yesterday, winning by 2 fluky own goals. Anyway, here's Dwight McNeil trying to get James Garner away. It's a 3-kick there. There's Mr. John Brooks of the land of the pork pie, Melton Mowbray in Leicestershire. And a definite 3-kick there. John Stones completely obstructing his man Garner. And Gomez is going to take this 3-kick for Everton now on the near side as we look. Right-footed. Plenty of white City shirts back, as you can see. Well, as you could possibly tell. And the ball played in there. Tarkowski went up with the first ball on the far side. Just a little bit bunched up on that Everton right-hand side, and the ball goes out of play. Jack Harrison there, number 11. Terrific player. for Leeds United for so many seasons. Hasn't really hit the heights that he did at Leeds at Goodison. Maybe it's the fact that you moved to new surroundings. There's been talk. It's been confirmed that Goodison Park will stage another season of football next season as well, as there's been delays on the building of the new stadium down the road at Bramley Dock. And by the end of next season, it'll be a shame to see the old girl go, Paul, really, won't it? I mean, Goodison Park is one of the great, great English grounds.
It'd be an absolute shame. And I again, maybe it's just because I'm old-fashioned, but I don't like to see these older stadiums go, these older buildings like Goodison Park, White Hart Lane, Highbury. These are what are synonymous with football, and I think it's really sad. But I mean, at the end of the day, football is growing, and you sort of need these bigger, more modern stadiums now. But it'll be a terrible shame to see Goodison Park. What a history it has!
A great history too. As Beto comes in there, still got a chance of making some history in the next couple of seasons, of course. With the ownership issues going on at the moment, it's you feel for the Evertonians, and of course they're still protesting against the 10-point deduction. Of course, again there was lots of placards being held up. Burnley, in fact, when they went to Burnley the other week, they were banned by the security staff to actually bring them in Turf Moor. I can understand Burnley's stance on that. They are suing Everton for loss of revenue because they got relegated at Everton's expense a couple of seasons ago, but we won't go into the politics of that. I think we should come, but Everton did deserve to stay up. Whether they broke fair play rules or not, they deserve to stay up on merit. And that 3-2 win at Crystal Palace a couple of years ago was one of the great Goodison nights. As Foden closes in and shoots high over the top, right-footed into the Gladys Street end, away to my right-hand side. 12 minutes gone here on the TCL and all platforms. It's still Everton 0, Manchester City 0.
Yeah, Foden got in there. He perhaps would have been better. From my perspective, I would say it'd have been better going across the goalkeeper than trying to go at the near post there, JB.
Absolutely. Everton in good form, as I say. Kept plenty of clean sheets at home in recent weeks as well, which is great. Great news for them. Defensively, they have been found wanting. But here's Bernardo Silva. They certainly were found wanting at the start of the season. They couldn't buy a win. Lost on the opening day of the season to Fulham when they had about something like 16 different opportunities. But then Fulham had one and took it. And at that time, it did typify Everton's season. They picked up a bit, and then they had that 10-point deduction, of course, which Everton, as a club, supporters and staff alike, felt in their minds it was unjust. And I have to say, Paul, if it had been any lesser club, that might have caved in. But Everton, it seems to have galvanised them in recent weeks, hasn't it?
Yeah, I've said it before, JB. I think it's a strange thing to say, but I think it's actually the best thing that could have happened to them this season because, as you mentioned, at the beginning of the season, they really started struggling. They were bottom of the league for quite a period of time. I mean, I'm just looking at a scatter graph I just designed for the preparation for this game, and they really wasn't getting very high in the table at all. So it has helped them, it has to be said.
Yeah, we're just looking at possession here on my monitor. I don't know what we've got. I've got watching the game off a monitor here, Amazon Prime. We have it on, and that's why you're hearing the actual crowd noise tonight instead of the usual. Oh, now a big chance here for Manchester City. Good save, and the rebound is wide. The first step it was well saved from Núñez by Pickford, and then the rebound was prodded wide. Before I bring Paul in, I'm just going to determine who hit the rebound wide. I think it may have been Phil Foden. Let's see. It wasn't. And in fact, it was Alvarez who had the second effort. And Pickford actually made a double save, Paul.
Yeah, two important saves by Pickford with his legs there, showing why he's the England number one. But let's be honest there as well. The chance there was a good one, either side of Pickford, and it's 1-0.
Well, whilst Paul was talking, the corner was taken, but it didn't come to much, and it's back down the left-hand end, the Park Road end, with Ederson, the big Brazilian goalkeeper. Coming up towards the first quarter hour. Manchester City have had the better opportunities so far. Everton just haven't really got going in attack just yet, but still a long way to go, I suppose, in the game. And if they can hang on in there for as long as they can and maybe nick one on the break, Everton, then a shot may well happen here at Goodison tonight. As John Stones takes possession on the edge of his area again. Oh, now then. Everton here doing what they were trying to do at Burnley, pressed and forced Manchester City into making mistakes. And they almost did that terrifically well. It was almost effective there because City, I have to say, Paul, were a little bit nervous there playing out from the back.
Well, this is what I'm noticing about Manchester City this season. When teams press them, that is when I think teams have the most joy against Manchester City.
In the last game, they drew 2-2 against Crystal Palace, having been 2-0 up, and they were at home in that game. Palace came back and took a 2-2, and deservedly so. And there's a great little picture at the end of that game where Roy Hodgson is giving Pep Guardiola a great big grin. Let's face it, when you're 2-0 down away from home at Manchester City, in most cases, you neither have a bob hope or no hope of not even getting a point, let alone 3. But for Palace to come back in that fashion just shows what a bad time Manchester City are having. And I think they are in a little bit of a transitional period. I'm not sure they've replaced Gundogan, really, in terms of their midfield influence. I know Rodri's been out for a lot of the time as McNeil plays it back, and then Branthwaite just knocks it back to Jordan Pickford.
Well, also the injury to Kevin De Bruyne hasn't helped. Kevin De Bruyne provided an assist to about 30% of Haaland's goals last season. So missing De Bruyne, I think, is also a massive blow to Manchester City as well, I think, as well as Gundogan.
Well, Rodri just breaking forward. He tried a shot, but 2 Everton players charged it down. And now Everton trying to play away, playing in the no man's land, and it's back with Edison. 17 minutes gone here on all TCL platforms. Of course, because we're a 2-prong commentary team tonight, Paul and myself. Paul, as co-coms, will have the casting vote for our Man of the Match award, sponsored by Commentary Services, a little bit later on during the programme. And we'll be with you until just after 10 o'clock UK time tonight. That's Greenwich Mean Time. For those who are not familiar with that sort of time frequency outside of Great Britain, as Everton have won themselves a 3-kick in a very promising position against the Kanji. John Brooks at the moment refereeing this very sensibly. This is the incident again. It was a foul here on Beto. Look at Kanji just pestering him and wrestled him to the ground there, almost Big Daddy style.
Yeah, lucky not to go into the book there, given the position of the foul as well.
And Gomez is going to take the 3-kick just to the right, or to the left, sorry, of the penalty of the D. It's about 10 yards from the D. And I'd say it was about 4 yards from the edge, about 10 yards from the edge of the D as well. It's a good opportunity to float one in there and get it on maybe Tarkowski's head. Branthwaite is also in there too. Gomez sends it in. Out comes the keeper. It was towards Branthwaite, and the goalkeeper did really well. He got half a glove on it, but half a glove was more than enough. But a good free kick from Gomez, just asking a question or two of the City goalkeeper. And Pickford's kick is a very good one too. And Everton almost in business again on the right-hand side. They do keep possession, however. Branthwaite now has retreated back to halfway, and he's in possession of the ball now. Reaching out to the far side. Now the ball knocked forward here by Garner, and it's out of play. But yeah, that free kick from Gomez just asked a question or two of Edison.
Yeah, he had to come out and he tried to get a punch on that. The right thing to do. I think it would have been difficult for him to grab that ball and kept a hold of it in that situation. It's good work by the City goalkeeper. Holding an 85% save average is pretty amazing what Edison has done since he's been at Manchester City.
Yeah, a very high percentage, 85. You can't do much more than 85, I suppose, in a realistic term, although you could do better. You could get 100%, but it would be asking a heck of a lot. Anyway, Everton have it now with Onana, who missed that god-awful penalty against Fulham just before Christmas in the Carabao competition that knocked them out. Essentially, here's Bernardo Silva going down the right-hand side, has to check back and uses Kyle Walker. He's right wing back. They're called wing backs now in the modern game. When I was a lad and Paul was a lad, they used to call them fullbacks. There's Foden now.
Showing his age, JB.
Yes, we're both. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm certainly the wrong side of 40. I do look like I do. If you don't know what I look like a clapped out old banger. But there you go.
Stop it, JB. Stop kicking yourself. Plenty of people will do that for you, so stop doing it to yourself.
It's all right. I know what I am. Now am I kidding? But 0-0 here. Whilst there's still life in me, there's still plenty of energy. Anyway, 0-0. If you've just joined us on the TC Hub, it's JB, John Stottard, and PJ Paul James guiding you through the 90 minutes. And we're available. This commentary is available on these following 5 platforms: TC Hub, TC Hub 2, JB Sports, Storm FM, and Paul's brand new channel, Focus on Football. And we're delighted to welcome your channel, Paul, to our wonderful family of TC Hub participating channels.
Thanks, JB. Happy to be part of it. And I've been with the TC Hub now for 2 years, so it's been a very enjoyable experience so far.
Yes, and our first game together as a commentating pair was that infamous cup tie when Arsenal wore white shirts at Nottingham Forest.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
That was probably one of the worst commentaries. Well, I say worst. It was in terms of identification. It was a nightmare trying to distinct one Arsenal player from the other. But we did get a reward then because Lewis Grabban got an 83rd minute winner at the then Championship Nottingham Forest to knock Arsenal out the cup. And we'll be back on TCF duty in the new year for a tasty FA Cup tie at the Emirates between the aforementioned Arsenal and Liverpool. Plus, we'll have the Time Weir Cup tie as well. That will be with Russ Burnin. So plenty of good FA Cup action to look forward to in the new year on the TC Hub as well. There's the League Cup latter stages as well, plus the final coming your way as well in the new year. So plenty of great football. And of course, we'll have the European Championships as well. Notwithstanding that, England and Scotland are already there. Wales have still got to go through that playoff thing, but wouldn't it be lovely for British football if we could get Wales to join Scotland and England in Germany next summer?
It'd be interesting for sure. I think Wales have been such an improved side over the last 10 years or so. And I remember them in the 2016 European Championships. My goodness me, they were good. And
I did a lot of their, and that was my first ever major tournament as a YouTube commentator. And I have to say, I never expected in my wildest dreams when I started the commentary on that tournament to be covering Wales in a semi-final. I fully expected it to be England, but well, we know what happened in that night when they played Iceland. It was one of the worst England performances I've ever had the privilege, if you could call it that, have commentated on. Anyway, here's Grealish running at his defender. Grealish shoots. Good save from Pickford, down and away to his left-hand side. Still not away yet. Bernardo Silva crosses it in, and away it goes from Everton. But City are still piling on the pressure. The onslaught continues. It's Bernardo Silva now on the right-hand side. Walking out. First-time cross. Too close to Pickford, who takes it unchallenged in the 6-yard area. But Jack Grealish there showing how good a player he really is. A toe poke towards goal. And in the end, even though it was a good save from Pickford, Paul, you'd have to say, despite all that, that's regulation, certainly for England's number one.
Yeah, I was really impressed with Jack Grealish early on in this game, JB. He just seems to be getting himself into position to create chances. I've noticed Jack Grealish, when he's on form, he's almost unstoppable when he's at his best. And so far in this game, he's looked pretty good so far.
Yes, he's looked good. I mean, obviously, he's gone for £100 million 2 or 3 seasons ago, which of course can weigh you down a little bit. But it took him a season or two to settle into the Manchester City way of thinking. But he had a virtuoso performance in last season's cup final against Manchester United. Another game that Paul and I, along with Russ Vernon, covered. And in fact, let's see if we can get some comments. There's Tommy Fleetwood, the Ryder Cup winner there in the crowd. He's a big Evertonian. Very good golfer as well, Tommy Fleetwood. And Teddy's takes has been on. Not understand what that means. +1. If you can lie on us, Teddy. assuming that's your name. Please enlighten us what all that's about. What I can tell you is elsewhere in the Premier League, Everton have got a corner. Whilst that's been taken elsewhere, Brentford 1, Wolves 3. Now these have just kicked off the second half, incidentally. These were 7:30 kickoffs, and Chelsea 1, Crystal Palace 1. That's the latest score. I'll give you scorers as soon as we get another breaking play from both games. Meanwhile, we've got an Everton corner. Dwight McNeil's going to take it. And McNeil now will send it in towards the penalty area. Hake got a header away. Still not away yet. Danger still not averted for Everton. Or for Manchester City, rather. And the ball is played back by James Tarkowski. Or Robert Patterson, rather, to Pickford. And Pickford's ball is a good one. Trying to pick out Tarkowski, who made a terrific... He stayed forward from the initial corner. And if he'd just been a bit more pace on him, then that could have been an interesting leg race between him and Ederson, who would have got there first. And if Ederson had not got there first, my word, Everton may well have been in business.
Yeah, it's a great ball. Ederson has got an extremely good presence of mind. He's a real modern goalkeeper, isn't he? Where goalkeepers almost have to be sweepers now, and his presence of his penalty area and the presence around his penalty area for Ederson is just wonderful. He really is one of the world's best at the moment. And
Bernardo Silva, whilst Paul was talking, has just blazed over the top into the Gladys Street end. But I have to say, Paul, looking at the first 26 and a half minutes that we've seen, okay, we haven't had a goal yet, but in terms of the entertainment and the factor that it's actually been played like an FA Cup tie, end to end, to and fro-in, it's been a good 0-0. It's not been a bad 0-0 by any means.
That's right. There's been chances created at both ends, and we've seen a lot of really good football so far. I'm quite impressed with what I've seen.
Yes, and I have to say I've been impressed from both sides, the attitude and the application from both sides, and the fight you have to show to win 3 points in the league, in the Premier League, that's for sure. We haven't even mentioned David Coote, who's our VAR official. Of course, we've not really mentioned VAR too much so far this evening, but I won't speak too soon because you never know. VAR is a bit of a dodgy subject amongst those commentators. I don't know how Paul feels about it, but I've washed my hands with VAR now. Let's just have a look at the passes completed, Paul. 54 passes Everton and a whopping 217 for Manchester City, which tells the story, really, that how dominant City have been in this first 27, 28 minutes.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I don't think you can say much more than that, really. Anyway, here comes Garner trying to play the ball forward, but the ball was lost. But then Garner's won it back again when City tried to keep it in. Beto on the edge of the area. Rodri barged him off, but legally. Here's McNeil, though. Chance in there. Goal for Everton! They lead! Jack Harrison! And it's the shock on. I think that's his first shot on target for Everton. And Jack Harrison from 3 yards out prods it past Ederson. And Everton's revival continues at breakneck speed. They lead 1-0 at Goodison Park.
Well, JB, that was brilliant. The ball from Garner straight away there. The pass again as well. They gave the ball away there. And McNeil was just able, had the sense of mind to pick up the ball there. And the pass was brilliant, right across the 6-yard box. Poor defending by City. There was 2 Evertonians there. Harrison was one of them. Right on the edge of the 6-yard box, completely unmarked. All I can say to that, JB, is, wow, that's charity from Manchester City.
And not only that, you wouldn't expect that from Rodri. That's a collector's item, isn't it? But great work from McNeil to set the chance up in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. He had the presence of mind to pick up the loose ball there and get the ball across. And it seemed like, well, if you look at it, you might say, well, that's a straightforward pass. Not so in that situation and under pressure. He pulls the ball across very, very well, and it's tapped in by Harrison.
Well, we've got a goal, and it's come from Everton. 29 minutes gone. And Jack Harrison, and that's in fact his first ever goal for Everton. See, he isn't on our top. He isn't on my top scorers list as it stands. And at the moment, they're going to be as high as 15th, depending on other results at the moment, as Pickford kicks long into the Bullens Road stand where we are. Well, now, Goodison Park, with half an hour played, this was what this ground was built for. Nights like this, and the Evertonians, you have to say, are the most passionate supporters in the land. They have suffered a lot. When you see the amount of trophies in the last sort of 10 years that have gone the other side of Merseyside, the other side of Stanley Park even, to Liverpool, and Everton, since winning the FA Cup way back in 1995, have had only one cup final to show for it. That was in 2009, and arguably could have won that against Chelsea. But they haven't had too much to cheer in recent years, and maybe, just maybe, renewed optimism. They've suffered so much, Paul. It's uncanny. And when you see the other team from Merseyside winning all the prizes and being top of the Premier League at the moment, you can understand why Evertonians do get frustrated. Let's just break off for a second, because here's Bernardo Silva. City looking to hit back instantly. He goes down in the area. John Brooks had a good look. And in fairness to I'll just break off for a second, because here's Jack Grealish now on the left-hand side of the penalty area. Grealish cuts inside, knocks it back. Rodri tries to side-foot it from the edge of the area. Should have just put the laces through it, really, from Rodri. If Rodri had his time again. No penalty, definitely. And there was a sign in that, as we see Rodri shot goal well wide. There was a sign in that, Paul, that he didn't appeal for it. And John Brooks did have a good 2 or 3 seconds look at that, but...
And he couldn't have been any closer, could he? I mean, he was right on the spot there. And when I looked at it, I didn't think there was enough contact there at all, if there was any at all, for him to go down. I don't think it was a dive. It looked like he stumbled upon his own feet. But the referee couldn't have been any closer, could he?
No, he couldn't. Here's Mikalenko now inside the City penalty area. And they've won a corner. It's I tell you what, Paul, we've had a ball these first 32 minutes. Because it's to and fro, one end of the field to the other. And now Everton have a chance from a corner.
We've got a barn burner here.
Well, the atmosphere is deafening. Goodison Park has seen a few nights. Bayern Munich in 85, probably the loudest of the lot. Here's Gomez with this corner then for Everton. From the near side, in it goes to the area. Up go the heads. It comes out again. Harrison! And Edison makes the save, diving away to his right-hand side. And if that goes in, then City are in trouble and needing snookers. What a save.
What a super save. Jack Harrison nearly got his second outside of the foot there with that shot. And he just loops over and makes a stunning save there, does Edison. Really showing lies a bet.
I just thought for a moment Mikalenko was going to hit a screamer. In fact, he got way underneath that one. Seen that end of the air, outside of the foot, outside the left foot, and that great save. Big left hand from Edison, flicking it over, and Sean Dyche must be, well, there was a lot of raised eyebrows when Sean Dyche got the job a year and a half ago. There was a lot of moaning and groaning from the Evertonians about the appointment, but Sean Dyche was what Everton needed at the time. Because he's not going to play the prettiest football. Me and you know, as Burnley fans, it's never going to be pretty. But he's go. But if anything, in the last 18 months he's been at the club, Paul, he's actually galvanised the club. But here they come again with Gomez. They're not finishing. They're really going for City's throat. Gomez gets a second opportunity, breaks or tries to break into the penalty area. City stop him. And now Branthwaite with Alvarez right on his tail. Oh, what good play from Branthwaite. A youngster showing maturity way beyond his years. And he picks out Harrison with a wonderful crossfield pass to the right-hand side. Harrison plays it into Onana. This is great football from Everton. Oh, the back heel just couldn't come off towards Beto. But Everton right now are go ahead and their tails well and truly up.
Well, this is what Sean Dyche does. Yes, he doesn't play pretty football. He has turned Everton from a little less pretty to a bit more gritty. but they, at the same time, they are still being able to break forward quickly. Just when we saw Burnley at their best under Sean Dyche, it just reminds me of the way that Burnley played. Defensively very solid, but could break out in numbers and sometimes very quickly.
A little less pretty and a bit more gritty. I love that. I love that, Paul. Nice turn of phrase. Anyway, ball back with Tarkowski, back to Jordan Pickford. But you can see the confidence now as we go into the final 10 minutes in the first half. The confidence that, now better, we might be onside. It's better for Everton. And John Stones, the former Evertonian, got back, but I think the flag had gone up anyway. And I think it was Lee Betts put it up on the far side there, but Beto got him bad. I think he might have just been offside, to be fair, Paul, but City really caught flat out. And if it had been onside there, that might have been interesting.
Well, they're not liking this City. They're not liking the pressing that Everton are doing against them. And Everton defensively this season have just been outstanding. It's been Sean Dyche. It's got Sean Dyche's fingerprints all over this defence. It is outstanding. Like, at this point where they are in the league, and to have the fourth best defence in the league is incredibly impressive. And they've done so well. And, okay, as Burnley fans, it doesn't go well for us. But you know what? What Everton have done collectively since this 10-point deduction, they've come together. They have collectively as a club, fans, players have come together and have just performed so admirably, so well. And like I said, for that reason, I think this 10-point deduction could have been the best thing that's ever happened to them.
Yeah, I agree with that. Whilst Stones is receiving some treatment, you're missing nothing, by the way. The game has stopped because Stones has sustained an injury in challenging Beto. Not that it mattered in the grand scheme of things because play had stopped anyway. But let me bring you the latest scores from the 7:30 kickoffs, because we've played 57 minutes in both of those. I've played 57 minutes at Brentford anyway. And it's Brentford 1, Wolves 3. Wolves are on a great run under Gary O'Neill, aren't they? Lamina put Wolves ahead after 13 minutes. Dan Wang with his first goal on 14 minutes put them 2 up. Then Risa replied on 16 minutes. And then Wang Yichan got his brace on 28 minutes. And that's still the scoreline after 58 minutes of play. In the other game at Stamford Bridge, they played 63 minutes in that one. And it's Chelsea 1, Crystal Palace 1. Mudryk had put Chelsea ahead on 13 minutes. And then Michael Olise in the first minute of stoppage time, leveling the count there in that London derby. That's still 1-1, by the way, in that one. And there's no goals in the Edinburgh derby at half-time between Hibs and Hearts, as City are prepared to take the wicket. The other 2 games from Scotland, Livingston 0, St Johnstone 0, both Premiership games, and St Mirren 0, Kilmarnock 1. Watkins the scorer for Kilmarnock. So you're up to date with all the other scores from around England and Scotland are being played tonight. Here's Bernardo Silva. We'll take a 10-minute break, of course, on the TC Hub. But I think me and Paul will need to get our breath back after this first half. That's a foul on Jack Grealish by Nathan Patterson. That's going to be a yellow card. It has to be under the rules of the game. John Brooks, under the letter of the law, had no option.
Yeah, definite yellow card. No attempt to win the ball. Just dragged Grealish down. I think that was what was once called in football a professional foul, JB.
A professional foul, yes. It was a professional foul. No getting away from that. And it stopped City on a good attack. Grealish has been probably one of City's shining lights in this first half, which is now coming up to the 39th minute. Everton 1, Manchester City 0. Let's not forget. Goal on 28 minutes from 29 minutes from Jack Harrison from no more than 3 yards out. That's that ball comes in. Header 1. And City claim a penalty. And I think they've got it. I think it's a penalty, or is it? No, I thought it was a corner. I think City are trying to claim a penalty. It's a bit of a crowd scene in there. I think the corner's been awarded from John Brooks. Looks
like it's a corner, JB, yeah.
No, I think VAR might have had a little check and then decided there was nothing in it. They only showed their own replayers. Bernardo sends that corner into the mix. And again, Everton winning the first ball, but they've given the ball back to Nunez, who's on the far side here for Manchester City. We've got a shock on here in the Premier League. Manchester City are having a dreadful season by their standards. Okay, they've won the European Super Cup, breezed their Champions League group, and have won the World Cup Championships. But I just reckon if they do lose tonight, those extra games in Abu Dhabi or wherever they've been in the last couple of weeks, I wonder if the travelling and all that has taken its toll as well, because I have to say, in short periods, they have looked a little bit fatigued.
They have, and there's action on the City bench. It looks like Josko Gvardiol is preparing himself to come on, so you might have a point there, JB.
Carvalho, yeah. It could be for John Stones, because he obviously got injured, didn't he? So I wouldn't be too surprised if it was Gvardiol for Stones. But as I say, I'm making a pure guess at this point. I'm just trying to look for John Stones and see what he's there. See how he seems okay, but he's offering himself to the ball at the moment. But Rodri is not being allowed to sort of make the passes towards the strikers that he'd normally do, because he's a very good passer with the ball, Rodri. But here's Jack Harrison for Everton on the right-hand side. The far side as we look here at Goodison Park, attacking the Park Road stand. And that is in the opening goal of the game after 29 minutes from Jack Harrison, after good work down the left by Dwight McNeil, who's on the ball now on the left-hand touchline. McNeil puts in a first-time cross. Defence only got it half away. Kanji didn't defend that all well, and he completely miskicked it. But I have to say, maybe there is a sign of fatigue coming in. But if they have lost John Stones for the rest of the night, and he is struggling there, Paul, I've just watched him now running backwards, and they've given him the ball now.
It's moving very gingerly, and it might be from that challenge that he did on Beto about 10 minutes ago. And
it is John Stones that's going to have to come off. He put the ball out, and you can tell right away from his body language, that's not good news. He has had an injury-plagued career, John Stones. He hasn't had too much luck with injury since going to Manchester City, ironically, from Everton. He's going for big money as well.
Yeah,
getting a good applause from the Goodison faithful as well.
Yeah, good, because it is nice to see, because no one wants to see a player get injured. I hope John Stones recovers very quickly.
Although they didn't, Everton now, Manchester City have got 4 of their permitted 5 substitutes left. And it's Pep Guardiola. What's he doing, Guardiola? I mean, he should be booked there for showing an imaginary yellow card. I don't like that. Okay, fair enough. If you have a grievance with the referee, don't. There's no need for the imaginary yellow at this point.
He'd be booked if I was the referee, JB. I'd be straight over there and I'd show him the yellow card. I'd have no qualms doing that.
Some more games coming up tomorrow. Brighton, Tottenham, and then a big one at the Emirates. Arsenal, who spent Christmas Day top of the league, could go back top with a win against West Ham tomorrow. So 2 more Premier League games to come tomorrow. TCO will be commentating on or covering those. That remains to be seen. But we are here at Goodison Park, and a free kick to Everton, 10 yards inside the City half. I think Pep Guardiola may well have to pull off the mother and daddy of all halftime team talk, because their discipline, or the lack of it, could cost them dear in the end. Another needless foul. Mind you, having said that, though, it's a little push on Grealish, but I didn't think there was much in it. But certainly Rodri polished his player off and conceded a free kick. Anyway, we'll get Paul's views on that in a second. Everton have a free kick. Gomez goes short. And Garner will spread the play out, looking towards Tarkowski. Won the header. Finds his former Burnley colleague McNeil. He can turn, finds Tarkowski. What a rugby. Wayne Tandem and Tarkowski. Well, that looks a soft foul, I have to be honest. But it is a free kick to Manchester City with a minute of normal time to play before half time.
Yeah, it was soft contact, but these days, any kind of contact can sometimes be enough, and that's why players have to be very careful.
Yeah, it saddens me really that in 10 years' time, they may just knock the physicality out of the game and just rename it a non-contact sport.
I'm not sure you'll hear me behind the commentary mic if that happens.
Yeah, neither will I. if VAR doesn't improve and the game is a non-contact sport, I think I'll be spending my time in the commentary box commentating on the knitting circle rather than a football game. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. We're into a second or two away from the 45. We'll get official. We haven't had the both officials board go up yet, and we're well into stoppage time here. Where on earth is Anthony Taylor not putting his board up?
I think it's just come up now. 3 minutes, JB.
It's only taking him 15 seconds over the 45 to signal to the world that it's 3 minutes. Come on, Anthony Taylor, get your brain into gear. Anyway, here's Kyle Walker. City really do need to get their brains into gear. This has not been good enough by half from a Manchester City side. Bernardo Silva plays it back in again. Now then, what have they got in the tank now? And the shot comes in from Guavio, and it's well blocked again. In a way goes Patterson, gets it up to Beto, who I have to say has done a manful job up front on his own. He's worked so hard you wouldn't believe. But still, City are coming forward, and it's Nunez now breaking into the penalty area from the right-hand side. Everton trying desperately not to, the Everton defenders trying not to slide in and risk giving a penalty away by stupidly sliding in. Cross comes in from the far side there, and it's going to be knocked away by Beto. Nobody in the City half in a blue shirt. So Ederson on halfway inside his own half can take the ball with no trouble at all. We've played halfway through the 3 minutes, so we've got about 90 seconds of stoppage time. And I should stress at this point it's a minimum of. So City have also used the substitutes. Off comes Stones, and Guavio is now on. Touches in opposition box, Paul. This is close. Everton 13 touches, Manchester City 15. It's turning to be a lot closer game than what we first thought. As we will get Paul's views in it, because Manchester City are just relentlessly attacking here. And they get a corner out of it. Dwight McNeil concedes the corner. He's worked hard in this first half. We'll see this corner out, and then we'll get Paul's views on what's been a terrific first half of Premier League football. Premier League football at its very best. Bernardo Silva, short corner. The wind may have a factor on it as well, as the ball's knocked out into the area. And here's Grealish to the left of the D. Sitting looking for this equaliser. They've got 30 seconds plus injury time to play. And they've got 30 seconds of injury time to play. Well, Paul, while we're now into the last knock-ins, let's have your views on what's been an amazing first half of Premier League football.
City started off in control of this game, but Everton have grown into it as the first half has gone on. And dare I say it, as the first half has gone on, they've looked the better team. They've looked like that they've been able to press City back, that they've put City under pressure defensively, and of course taken the lead. They've been very good in this first half of Everton. They need to take it into the second half, though.
Absolutely. Sean Knights will have to make sure that. Meanwhile, as Paul was talking to you, the offside flag went up, and there goes the half-time whistle as well. So, a terrific first half performance from Everton at the moment as they get a standing ovation from basically 3/4 of Goodison Park. Jordan Pickford made 2 or 3 stunning saves, but Harrison's goal, a tapping from 3 yards, has given Everton the advantage. We're going to take a quick 10-minute break, Paul and myself. And after that break, we'll bring you up to date with the 7:30 kickoffs and the whole second half of Everton against Manchester City. So for now, from Paul and myself, we will speak to you in about 10 minutes. We'll take a break. Welcome back to the commentary held from Goodison Park. Alternate commentary of Manchester City away at Everton. Everton leading by a 29th minute goal scored by Jack Harrison from 3 yards after some good work down the left-hand side from Dwight McNeil, who's having a fine season individually for Everton. It's myself, JB, and Paul James alongside me tonight. Also, I have Paul's also sent me a little message off. You won't see it, but we are covering a match tomorrow, and it's Arsenal West Ham. Paul will be your main commentator for that one. So on all TCL platforms, Paul will be back, fully voiced up, we hope, to be covering that one tonight. So let's just, before I bring Paul in for an assessment on what's happening here. Brentford, it's still Brentford 1, Wolves 3. They played nearly 80 minutes of that one, and 5 minutes plus stoppage time away in the other game between Chelsea and Crystal Palace, and it looks like more drop points for Pochettino there. I mean, looking at those two games, Paul, I mean, Chelsea, okay, they're through in the Carabao to the semi-finals, which might save their season a little bit and save their faces. But for a Chelsea side full of so much potential and talent, to be where they are now, and at the moment as things stand, they're going to be in 12th place.
Yeah, it's 4-1 really to Wolves now.
And yes, Bellegarde has just scored that one for Wolves. No, but that's a terrific win for them. They move up above Chelsea as things stand, and they'll go 2 points clear of Chelsea. And they're on a great run, Wolves, and they beat Chelsea just before Christmas, of course, in that Christmas Eve match, and they were good value for that too. A word on Wolves as well, Paul. I mean, a lot of people thought Gary O'Neill, was it the right thing to do after what happened at Brentford? But again, he's coming to Wolves. He's galvanised the club. As I say, he's got some he's made some clever signings, and they look a good team again, Wolves. They do look a very good side when they're on song.
Yeah, very difficult team to beat. I covered the Christmas Eve game, and they were very good against Chelsea. And you're absolutely right. The way that Wolves have been galvanised together now, they're playing really good football. They're starting to look like a top 10 side again, after perhaps the season they had last season, which wasn't the best. But Chelsea, on the other hand, well, they've spent over half a billion pounds, JB. Why are they this bad? It's very difficult what you think on it, isn't it?
You'd probably need Inspector Morse to work out, and as well, you probably need international rescue. We'll touch on Burnley for about 5 minutes because, obviously, there's a lot we've said already about what's been said. I don't want to really go on another rant like when Everton came to town last time, but I just really want to get your views on what's been. And no, you were there yesterday. You were commentating on the game for the Hub, and you're in a better position to discuss it from not just a Burnley fan's point of view, but also from a dispassionate point of view. Let's face it. Liverpool should have won more than the two they actually got. Burnley did have some chances though. Goodmanson could have scored, done better with that header, but really in that first half, the Clarists didn't lay a glove really attack-wise to Liverpool, and if it wasn't for James Trafford, let's not forget, it could have been a cricket score, couldn't it?
Could have been. At the end of the day, JB. At the end of the day, JB, they're playing a very, very. There's no excuse for the bad defending. The bad defending was almost criminal. But I think
I've got to say, it reminded me, and I'm sorry to say this, any Burnley fans listening to this, I'll have to be honest, it was like watching poor old James Trafford, he didn't have a prayer with that flat foot. It was like watching the dog and duck on a Sunday morning, and I alluded to that in the comment section last night. I said it was like watching the dog and duck on a Sunday morning down the park, on a Sunday on a pub league. It was one of those. Yes, we've spent a lot of money for Burnley, but, I expected us to be, as I said, a bit further up the table. And, we put how many points have we lost from losing positions? 16 points or something now, isn't it?
More than any other team, I believe.
Yeah. And again, the stats don't lie. I know we don't want to be banging about stats and stuff, but as I say, I'm still, I was banging on the drum of social media, company out. People are telling me, it's a 5-year plan. We got up a bit sooner than we thought. I don't think in the 5-year plan, Paul, they factored for relegation and I mean, if it is to be relegation, it's in the limpest of ways. Just before we get your opinions on where the season might go for Burnley, there's been a development at Stamford Bridge on VAR. It looks as if they've got a penalty because Eze has challenged McCrader on in the penalty area. They had a look at it on VAR, and as things stand, a penalty to Chelsea. The teams haven't come out at Goodison Park, but if the goal goes in, if the penalty's taken, we'll let you know what happens there. Where did Burnley go from now? I mean, it's apparently Chelsea have scored now, so the penalty's been taken. So 2-1 as things stand to Chelsea now. So that has been coming, but City coming back out for the second half. But quickly, what do Burnley need to do in the second half of the season? Do they have to have a decent January? Do they need to buy in certain positions defensively, maybe attack-minded, get another striker in? It's a tough one, isn't it? We need snookers now with the other teams winning around us.
Yeah, they need defenders. They need another striker at least, one if not two, and they need some more experienced players in the midfield. In the centre of midfield, they need some assistance there in the centre of midfield, but they need some experienced, stronger, more physical players in there as well.
Yeah, it's just been confirmed on my screen that Chelsea have scored. So they lead Crystal Palace 2-1. So Chelsea look like saving a little bit of face. Manchester City, in our live match tonight, have 45 minutes to save theirs and some, because I have to say, Everton have been good value pour as we get underway in the second half. Everton in blue, attacking the Gladys Street end. Manchester City in the white shirts, maroon shorts and maroon stockings, attacking the Park stand away to my left. So, Paul James, 45 minutes to go. What do Manchester City need to do to get back into this game and to stop another damaging defeat?
Well, they have to find a way for Everton's defence. I think they have to be a little bit more cute in their creative play. There has been times where they've broken Everton down and not been able to take advantage of it. I think they need to bring in Jack Grealish more into the game. He's been very impressive in the first half. But at the moment, if they can't find a way through that Everton defence, there's not much hope for them, because right now, when every time Everton move forward and they're pressing City back, they actually look quite threatening.
And not only that, and what handicaps City that a little bit more is they've no Haaland, possibly till mid-January, we're hearing, and Kevin De Bruyne almost certainly not until certainly February. So City having a dodgy period, and it's probably the first time in Guardiola's tenure for a long, long time, certainly in league football, when they have struggled, maybe in his first season where he did struggle a bit and finished third. But apart from that, really, it has been plain sailing. As Patterson takes possession on the near side, Tarkowski just knocks a Sutter ball over the top, but it's just got a little bit too much zip and pace on it. And of course, the wind has carried that straight through to Edison. So Everton possibly playing with the wind behind them second half. Manchester City knowing the imperativeness of 3 points here tonight. They can put the pressure back on the top four. Certainly Aston Villa and Tottenham, who are above them in the table. Here's Grealish now on the left-hand side, bursting in the area. Goes past Patterson, or tries to go past Patterson. Ball knocked back towards Gabriel, and Gabriel's cross is a poor one. Bernardo Silva racing like Linford Christie to try and keep it in on the far side. The City right-hand side, and he did well. Gets the ball into Foden. Foden's back header is in there, and Rodri shoots left-footed and shoots well over the top and behind for an Everton goal kick. Just to remind you that City have already used one substitute. John Stones went off before half-time with an injury. Everton yet to use a substitute. So the second half starts with the same 22 players that actually finished the first. Just to remind you of the teams. Pickford in goal for Everton. Back four of Patterson, Branthwaite, Tarkowski and Mikolenko. Patterson was booked after 39 minutes, incidentally. Two holding midfielders, Gomez and Onana. And then the three attacking midfielders, Harrison, Garner and McNeil, as Beto, who's the lone striker, goes forward. Beto shoots, but it's over the top. And then the Gladys Street end and a Manchester City goal kick. We'll bring in the Manchester City team now in a second or two as we look at Sean Dyche, who's, as I said, as we said so often in the second half. Here's the Man City team. A recap for them. Edison in goal. Then it's a back four of Walker, Guardiola, Akanji and Ake. Guardiola replacing Stones, incidentally, for injury. Silva, Rodri and Nunes, the three-man midfield, and it's three up top with Foden, Alvarez, the central striker, and Jack Grealish on the left, Foden playing on the right. Referee, just to remind you, comes from the land of the pork pie, Paul. Melton Mulberry.
Yes. Yeah, it's a good referee, actually, I think, is John Brooks. And his statistics have been pretty impressive this season as well. He's actually been a select Group 1 referee since 2021 and was FIFA listed this year.
Yes, by the badge there, you can see that, or we can see on our monitors, Paul and myself. Free kick to Manchester City, as Paul was talking. And of course, Rebecca Welsh made history last weekend as she became the first female referee and did a blinding job as Burnley beat Fulham 2-0 in that cracking game down at Craven Cottage. So it's good to see women getting a chance. And in the men's game, I know Joey Barton said a lot about the influence of women, certainly women pundits on social media. I mean, Joey Barton's an ex-Claret and all that, but I think some of his, I don't know how you feel about it, Paul, some of his social media comments, but I think they're a bit old-fashioned now, a bit old hat, and maybe a bit disrespectful to some of the women pundits, especially the likes of Karen Carney and Rachel Brown-Finnis, who do talk a lot of sense about the game.
Well, I mean, it's got some very antiquated views as Joey Barton. To be honest with you, I've seen some of his posts on Twitter. I don't comment on them. I don't engage.
No,
I got better things to do than to read his nonsense.
Even though he's an ex-Claret.
I don't care whether he's an ex-Claret. I'm sorry. I just feel that he's when he starts talking like that. Okay, you're entitled to your opinion. I believe in freedom of speech, but come on, let's. What he's saying just doesn't make sense. It's nonsense. That basically means that me and you shouldn't be doing what we're doing based on what his views are. It's football. Everybody has an opinion, and everybody's entitled to state that opinion about the game. That's what makes this game so good.
Oh yes, and we invite everybody of all ages and all creed and all sexes to enjoy our coverage as well. We have had a few female commentators in the past. I've commentated with a female co-commentator, and she was good. I think her name was Freya Clovier, and we did a Champions League game together, and she was absolutely superb. Knew exactly what she was talking about. Fantastic. And if you're listening, Freya, I hope you're doing all right. Meanwhile, here's Bernardo Silva on the break on the far side for Manchester City. Back in field, inside the centre circle to Rodri. He tries to spread the play beautifully to Jack Grealish. Now, this is what Paul was saying. Get him on the ball a bit more, I think. Get him more into the game. Well, Grealish with balls like that is not going to influence things when he plays bad balls like that. But City have retained possession, or have re-won possession. Here's Rodri. 10 yards from outside the area, flicks it out to the right-hand side. Good football is from Manchester City across the face, and almost an own goal, possibly by Tarkowski. Well, Everton just living on the nerves, and Jordan Pickford and Tarkowski almost having a set to there with themselves. We'll get Paul's views on that in just a second. But Manchester City have got a corner. 7 minutes almost gone in the second half. Here's Alvarez, pulled back to Foden. Will Walker have a go? Maybe Grealish will have a go, maybe with his left foot. No, he uses his right foot and plays it to Foden. Everton practically with all the other men behind the ball as City go in search of an equaliser. Foden shoots, and it's a terrific goal from Phil Foden. No chance for Jordan Pickford, who kicks the ball away in disgust. And Manchester City, 7.5 minutes into the second half, shown the grit of true Premier League champions and get level for an absolute extra-set missile from Phil Foden. It's Everton 1, Manchester City 1. What a goal, Paul.
Oh, yeah, it was an excellent strike. I have to wonder whether Pickford may have done a little better there, but it really is an excellent strike by Foden. Another English superstar who's probably going to grace the European Championships for England. It was a lovely finish, and City are right back in it now.
Indeed, and he sent a big message, a positive message there to Gareth Southgate. I'm still in there. I'm still fighting for an England jersey for the summer. Of course, England have got warm-up games, of course, to come in the new year in the build-up to that. 53 minutes. The goal was timed. Phil Foden. And you can hear just the City grounds in the background. And here they come again. They're looking to score again. Alvarez inside the area. Well, who needs Ireland when you've got Foden? Alvarez now. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, gee whiz. They won a corner, Manchester City. Foden nearly had another one.
Yeah, he nearly just poked that in, didn't he? He just managed to get a touch on it, roll past the post. Pickford was beaten again there, really. He wasn't getting that if it was on target.
Gee whiz, that was not very far away, and it may have shaved the post. City demanded a corner, but John Brooks figured it was a goal kick. All you can hear in the background is Manchester City fans at the moment. I mean, it was all Everton in the first half.
But, yeah, absolutely. But what a chance. What a chance for Manchester City. I wonder if they'll live to regret that chance, though.
Well, the game at the balance, it could still well be. We've got a pretty easy tie back in the third round of the FA Cup on the Sunday. I think that's January the 5th. At the same time as we'll be doing Arsenal against Liverpool, they've got Huddersfield Town at home. It's funny that Manchester City get favourable draws in the FA Cup at home. But almost like Manchester United. We're away at Wigan on the Monday, incidentally. That
won't be easy for Manchester United the way they're playing right now.
Well, considering they actually came back from the dead last night at Old Trafford, they were 2-0 down and Villa were tormenting them for about 45 minutes last night. You couldn't tell who was the team in third place or the team outside the top six, but then Manchester United showed a bit of fight and determination. I think that's what the supporters want. And of course, they've got new owners coming in as well, or got new investment coming into the club. Of course, Jim, whatever. I'll just call him Sir Jim. And of course, Dave Brailsford of the cycling man as Garner sets up in pursuit. And excuse me for not having much knowledge on Manchester United's new investor, but we're concentrating on events on the field. And here come Manchester City from the blue half of Manchester. Tails up at 1-1. And in the way they played this first 10 minutes of the second half, they deserve to be on parity. Here's Bernardo Silva's cross into no man's land. Easy for Pickford, who tries to calm the situation down. Just come on, lads. Calm down. We're still in this game. We're still on parity. We're not losing it.
So Dominic Calvert-Lewin warming up there as well,
yes.
JB. I just wonder whether we're going to see him very soon.
Yeah, possibly for Beto. So I would wager that would be like for like.
I think so as well, yeah.
Yeah, it's Pep Guardiola almost directing traffic, almost like a traffic warden. He knows full well 3 points could put City's season back on the road again. But Everton have to stay in there, hang tough, and try and ride out the storm and at least get something out of this game. Banana breaks away, and the referee Brooks decides to play on. I think that's good, sensible refereeing. He felt there was an advantage there, but Everton didn't profit from that. And they've got to play it down here. And surely Gomez will boot the ball out. And now the stricken Evertonian, Onana, to receive treatment, but he's got back up to his feet now. So Onana grimacing, but he's up on his feet, I'm pleased to say.
Looked a nasty challenge that though, JB, didn't it? Like it almost took him 6 foot into the air.
Well, maybe VAR will be having a look at it. David Cute, the man down at Stockley Park. We possibly might revisit it. We'll soon find out. Here's Bernardo Silva though, down the right for Manchester City. One apiece if you've just joined us on all the TCM platforms. As the ball is spread out to Jack Grealish. And Grealish whips his man for pace, but good challenge there by Nathan Patterson, conceding a corner. And already in this opening quarter of an hour, we're approaching a quarter of an hour played in the second half. It's all yellow card that's been awarded to Manuel Akanji. So I think the referee did revisit the incident.
Can't say I'm surprised. It was a rather unpleasant looking challenge, to say the least.
Well, we haven't seen a replay of the challenge. I must admit I was following the path of the ball, so I couldn't possibly say whether that could have gone to VAR and it could be upgraded to a red one. But let's see. As Manchester City look in pursuit of another goal here to try and make it 2-1. Grealish, incidentally, scores his 4th goal of the season in getting that equaliser. As Bernardo Silva comes charging forward again. Gone to the left-hand side this time. Plays it infield. And again, Grealish, edge of the area, goes down. And Grealish wants more than just a free kick. Booking for an Everton player. Looks like, I'll tell you who it was. Shout back to him. It was Gomez. Andre Gomez has brought him down, and that's a free kick. So,
dangerous position.
Very dangerous position. Gordon just having a chat there with possibly Alvarez. There's a four-man committee for Manchester City, namely Walker, Grealish, Bernardo Silva, and Julian Alvarez. There is going to be a City substitution imminent. We've played nearly an hour here. We get a good side of this free kick. 4 in the Everton wall, which doesn't look a very secure wall to me. Looking at it, looking right behind it. We'll see. Might be the curler from Alvarez. It is. And a good save from Pickford. He had to dive away to his right. And in fact, it was a regulation save, Paul.
Yeah,
it was a save you'd probably expect the England keeper 9 times out of 10 to make.
Yeah, absolutely. And I saw it was a standard save, but I saw Pickford and James Tarkowski having words again at the end of that equation. But yeah, one you'd expect Pickford to make a comfortable save, I would say.
I would say that too. So the war of words between the two Evertonian players continues as Manchester City prepare another substitution. But it won't be until after this corner's been taken. And it's Alvarez to send it in towards the net post. And the goalkeeper didn't get a good fist on it. And Foden's, and they appeal a penalty. City waved away by Mr. Brooks, who's been surrounded by City players. Oh, he's given it. And now Everton complain. I've got a funny feeling, Paul, this could be a VAR job.
Yeah, it'll have to be
Sean
a VAR
Dyche
job.
Livid, by the way.
Yes, it'll have to be VAR. He does put his arm up there, though, JB. But having said that, though, you're going down. You're bound to have your arm up.
Oh, that's not a penalty. I think his arms are down by his side. Oh. Well.
I mean, I don't know if it's going to go to VAR. There's no announcement as of yet. James Tarkowski's trying to find out what's going on. But what I saw there is I saw his arm up. But what I also saw was him going down at the same time. And look at how close it was. Look how close it was to the incident.
Well, VAR are checking. And, well, this game gets more crazier and crazier as we watch every game go by. Well, John Brooks, well, the penalty has been awarded. But, the decision's been confirmed. The PA system has just confirmed it now, and Alvarez has got the responsibility from 12 yards. We'll discuss this incident a bit further after this penalty's been taken. Sean Dyche was livid. Alvarez with the right foot then could put City ahead. John Pickford playing the mind games. Walking towards the 6-yard box and then walking back to the goal line again. Short run up, 2-step run up. Pickford hands on hips on the line. John Brooks waiting to blow the whistle. Alvarez against Pickford. Alvarez right foot and it's gone in. It went through Pickford in the end. And from 1-0 down, Manchester City with 63 minutes on the clock, controversially perhaps, have got in the lead. It's 2-1 now at Goodison Park. And, well, I'm still not sure whether that's a penalty or not.
Not convinced either, to be honest.
But Pickford, well, if he'd have moved here, Pickford, he shouldn't have moved in the first place. If he'd have stayed on his line and stayed where he was, he would have stayed because he went slap bang down the middle.
It's one of them, I think, JB, that some officials will give, some won't. It's for me, your arm is up, but you're going down. It's also very close to where the shot took place. I think it's very harsh to give, very harsh indeed, if I'm being honest. But
I don't want to ask this question, but did the referee change his mind? Because initially, in my mind, he didn't give it. And then there were 7 Manchester City players just to break off. Michael Keane's just come on for Everton. And, of course, I think another...
Kovacic has come on for City.
Kovacic has come on. He's replaced Nunez. But just going back to the initial incident, John Brooks, I don't know how you saw it, but from what I saw, John Brooks initially didn't give the penalty. Then there was about 7 or 8 Manchester City players who just surrounded him, demanding that he changed his mind. And then straight away, he sort of changed his mind and gave a penalty initially. And then, of course, we had all the nonsense with VAR as well. But
no, I don't think you're wrong actually at all for mentioning that, JB, because I think that's exactly what happened. He originally waved away, and as soon as those Manchester City players surrounded him, he then overturned his decision, and Jordan Pickford appears to have been booked, probably for complaining, I would say.
Yeah, for the protests. Now, I can understand his frustration as well, but I mean, I think he'd be more frustrated at the fact that he could have done better at saving the penalty. If he'd have just stayed at home, Paul, stayed in the middle of his goal mouth, it'd have come straight at him. He might have even caught it.
Yeah. Wasn't the best penalty, was it?
It wasn't. But I suppose, I mean, I played goalkeeper at a very low level, probably the lowest level of football. And when you're faced with a penalty situation, from a goalkeeper's point of view, it is a bit of a guessing game. But then again, Alvarez probably made it goddamn obvious for everybody in the stadium he was going to shoot right footed, and it looked as if he was going to go down the middle anyway.
Yeah.
Beto has come off for Calvert-Lewin. We can sort of say that with certainty. And Gomez has gone off as well. And Michael Keane has replaced him. So Everton have got 3 substitutes remaining. City 4. Because on the TV, the television company that have got the rights, they have up to 5 dashes above the team names on the scoreboard. And those dashes indicate the amount of substitutes that are allowed or each team can make. Everton, out of the 5 nominated, out of the 5, I've got 3 substitutes to make. City 4. That sub, of course, was used in the first half. Here comes the corner into the penalty area. Up towards Tarkowski, who heads it. He didn't get a good purchase on the header at the back post and wide. So with 67 minutes gone, Everton, who looked in very good nick at 1-0 up, are 2-1 down. Nunez has been replaced. Kovacic's now on. Halfway through the second half, 67 gone.
Yeah, City have now gotten the second half. They've dominated the game in the second half and been in full control. They deserved the lead, even though the penalty itself, I think, was very harsh. Under the rules of the game, it's probably the correct decision. But according to Russ in the comment section, Russ says that he was possibly communicating with his assistant before he actually made that decision. So that's a possibility as well.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, Russ might have a point there in that terms. I didn't see him communicating. I have to say, they did communicate with these ridiculous walkie-talkie things they have. I remember when a referee just used to communicate by word of mouth.
Yeah, he'd go off that, wouldn't he?
To his linesman. I wonder what Clive Thomas and Keith Hackett, referees, and David Ellery, referees from yesteryear, would have made of the technology today, I wonder. And certainly Keith Hackett has certainly had a few things to say about VAR on Twitter in the last sort of 18 months or so. And he will, I'm sure he'll have his 2 pennant from Twitter tomorrow morning. Keith Hackett, a great referee, refereed the 100th Cup final in 1981 between Manchester City and, ironically, and Tottenham Hotspur. Refereed both the first game at Wembley on the Saturday and then that famous Thursday night replay where it was the Ricky Villiers show. No foul there on McNeil. Everton fans are furious, let me tell you. And Goodison Park, and there's an incensed feeling about Goodison Park now, Paul, that Everton feel that their team have been hard done by, and I'd like to see modern referees apply more the spirit of the law rather than the letter of the law. I think that's missing in the modern game today.
And I agree with that, JB. The only counter argument to that is when you're dealing with millions and millions of pounds grinding on the results and the performances of these teams. Unfortunately, and I do say unfortunately, not by in any way sarcastically, I say it genuinely. Unfortunately, the spirit of the game gets lost under the pound notes, I'm afraid.
It's a shame, really, because you watch. I mean, there's a lot of old football games. You look at the big match and Jimmy Hill on the big match before that match of the day would bleep on in his analysis about referees using their discretion and the spirit of the game, and you just think, okay, it's a bygone era, but that's what football should be about. Forget the pound notes and everything that comes with it. I'd like to see football played in a competitive but fair spirit, and the referee just using his own discretion, VAR's probably stopped that, to be fair.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, here come Manchester City now looking to turn the screw, a third one, and you feel that they surely would do it. Both City and Everton have now got 3 substitutes each as Kovacic goes down in installments. Never going to get a free kick there. John Brooks was perfectly placed. Here's Calvert-Lewin. And amongst all that has come on himself as a substitute, and here he is on the Everton left, uses McNeil, plays a nice 1-2 with McNeil, not once but twice. McNeil first time cross, away by Grealish, under no great pressure on the edge of his 6-yard box. And again, Everton trying to press City, trying to force him into making mistakes. Here's Michael Keane now, a salty forward. Jack Robinson, who put Everton ahead in the 29th minute, initially, has now won his team of throwing off Guavio. Now then, what have Everton got in the last 20 minutes in way of a response to City's onslaught in his second half, Paul?
Well, they're coming forward now, and when they come forward, they do look quite dangerous. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin gives them that extra incentive in the air. But at the moment, City are looking very good in this second half. We're starting to look a bit more like the City that we're more used to seeing.
Yeah, well, we were all questioning them about 15, 20 minutes in the first half. Were they fatigued? Were they this? Were they that? Maybe Guardiola's just giving them a kick up the old cow's backside with a banjo. He needed to at half time, that's for sure. Because the City performance was a very, very lackluster one from their usual high standards. That ball forward is off of Jack Robinson. Guardiola had certainly a 5-yard head start on him. As City struggling at the moment to play up from the back, and Everton, to their credit, are pressing City for all their worth. And in the end, Rodri now has the presence of mind to play an intelligent little through ball to Jack Grealish on the halfway line. Uses Alvarez. Grealish goes down. Referee plays on. He may well again, like before, revisit the incident and book the Everton player involved. But I think that's good common sense refereeing from John Brooks. Jack Grealish thinks he should have a free kick, but maybe John Brooks is just saying to him, Paul, we gave you an advantage. Be thankful for that.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's kind of what he's saying to him, and he is back on his feet now, Jack Grealish. But I think Jack Grealish has been an effective tool for Manchester City today. Every time they brought him into the game, is creating good things for them, and I think if they can continue to do that, they're going to create more and more chances because he's looking very much, he's looking like his head is in the game here, and it looks very focused. And what I can see from Jack Grealish in this game is that he is very much on the ball right now, and he's dangerous when he's at his best. Very dangerous.
The full times have just the whistle's gone at Stamford Bridge. It went a long time ago, actually. To be fair, Chelsea have beaten Crystal Palace by 2-1, and Wolves have won 4-1 at Brentford. I can tell you who got the winner, in fact, in that City game. Maduki with an 89th minute penalty. Roy Hodgson will be sick as a parrot. Elsewhere in the Scottish, we'll just break off for a second. There's nothing happening while we're going out in Scotland. We'll just break off for a second. Just right. So at the moment, it's finished. We'll just break off for a second because here come Everton with Jack Harrison. We'll bring you the Scottish scores in a minute. Oh, and it's just gone wide from Calvert-Lewin. What an opportunity for Everton. I wonder if the City defender got back and just put him off there. But it was a wonderful run from Harrison in the first place. The cross came in, and I just wonder if it came off a Kanji last. And maybe that should have been an Everton corner. But Calvert-Lewin, well, from 6 yards, should be hitting the target for me, Paul.
Yeah, he should. But I think Akanji did very well to get back and put him off. I don't think it came off Akanji, but I think Akanji making contact with a player kind of put him off a little bit. It's really good work by Manuel Akanji. Otherwise, surely Dominic Calvert-Lewin would have scored that.
Well, Everton have certainly responded very, very positively. So a very controversial moment in the game, which finds them 2-0 down with 75 minutes on the clock. Quarter of an hour left plus injury time to play. Harrison bursting a gun inside the penalty area, cutting from the left-hand side, but then plays asks a lot of Mikalenko there with that pass out to the right and walk up to the far side, or the Everton left, I should say. And now the ball is with Alvarez. His penalty divides the team. That's a fair challenge by James Tarkowski. Alvarez is rolling around, Paul, as if he's been shot by Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
Referee stopped it, by the way.
Yeah, Tarkowski went in very hard, and it was knee on knee. If you look at it again very closely, JB, you'll see it's knee on the side of the knee of Alvarez, and that is very, very painful. And I certainly wouldn't want to be on the end of a challenge like that from James Tarkowski if it was me.
But then again, Tarkowski's got to be right to go for the ball, though, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, there was nothing dirty about the challenge. It wasn't a foul. It was just the fact that it was a hard challenge, and the fact that it was knee on knee, pretty painful.
Pretty painful indeed. These are the goals. Dwight McNeil put Harrison in to make it 1-0. Then the equaliser, a terrific 25-yard extra set with his left foot from Phil Foden. That will send a message out to Gareth Southgate. Then the penalty incident where Aki shot towards goal. Whether that was a penalty, you can make your minds up at home. Alvarez just about scoring from the penalties. Just to remind you of our Twitter handle, incidentally, I haven't had a chance, because it's been such a good watch, this game. I haven't had a chance to give you the Twitter handle. You can catch us on Twitter at Commentary Live 1, incidentally. And we're also on Facebook, incidentally. I'll give you the address for that. That's all the W's, facebook.com/the Commentary Hub. Mike's been on. He says, hi, JB and Paul. Enjoying the commentary tonight. And Mike also reckons City need a third to seal the game. Because of the Goodison crowd, they are up for this. And City have looked vulnerable in the last couple of weeks, so it's going to be a real test. But just before we get Paul's views on that, there's another foul here. Free kick to Manchester City against Branthwaite. And now Carl Walker in here. Won't having a set two here. Yellow card given to Branthwaite. It's kicking off. Big start here at Goodison Park. We'll get Paul's views on all this in a second. Now Guardiola and Dyche having a bit of a chat. I think we'll wisely step away from all that shenanigans and just say that Hearts have just scored. Shankland, in the last seconds, has won the Edinburgh Derby for Hearts against Hibs, and that will have upset 3/4 of Easter Road. Elsewhere in Scotland, St Mirren 0, Kilmarnock 1, and Livingston and St Johnstone finished 0-0.
Yeah, that's just unnecessary. That Ian Wone didn't have to. Why would Ian Wone want to stop would want to stop Walker from getting the ball. Everton are losing. He seemed to have just been delaying things a little bit there. And then when I don't know what Kyle Walker said to Ian Woan, but then Ian Woan retaliated. It's just completely unnecessary and honestly quite juvenile, if you ask me.
But then again, you're getting involved in emotion again. Mind you, you say time wasting. In fact, the referee will add time on for that, you know. So it's still, you know, in a funny roundabout sort of flip side sort of way. It could play into Everton's hands later on in the piece, but well, we'll just have to wait and see. But it's a finally, even though City are winning this game, it's far from over, as Mike Arneman quite rightly says. Your views on his comments?
Oh, he's absolutely right. When even as much as Manchester City are dominating, you know, it's 2-1. What was it one famous man said? Only takes a minute to score a goal.
Yes, it was the great Brian Clough. Only takes a second to score a goal. Anyway, I love my Cloughie impressions, dodgy Cloughie impressions. Sarkowski surely will get a booking here, bringing down Jack Grealish. If not, he'd be very lucky to get away with one. Definite foul on Jack Grealish, incidentally. So just to remind you that Brentford 1, Wolves 4 was an earlier result, and we had that too late show at Chelsea. Chelsea getting back on track. Substitution made by Everton. Harrison, the goal scorer, off. Janjuma is now on. So Everton now, that's been stand, have 2 substitutes out there, 5 allotted remaining. City have 3. Here's Rodri to Bernardo Silva inside the Everton half, now on the right-hand side of the field, far side as we look. Funaki, only a Bournemouth, would you believe? Chip forward towards Alvarez. And Mikolenko, the Ukrainian, doing a good job there on the far side, trying to get Everton yardage and a bit of possible territory, but not to no avail. City have it with Kovacic and Rodri again. But from an England point of view, we'll get your views from an English point of view. Of course, that's Jack Grealish there. He's going to get booked here, Jack Grealish. I think that's going to be a problem with England because Grealish, I was just about to say how well he's played, and then he goes and does a full thing like that. On Dwight McNeil. It's the descent really from Grealish that tarnishes his good parts of the game, and there's plenty of great parts to his game, but it's his temperament really that possibly keeps him out of the starting 11 for England. Really, well, maybe Gareth Southgate doesn't fancy him as much just because of the descent more than anything else.
Well, from a German perspective, I'll tell you, I fear Jack Grealish more than any other player.
Absolutely, he tore your guys apart in the Euro 2020, didn't he? 81 minutes gone here in this one. Still 2-1. Manchester City. Everton have a free kick. Jordan Pickford has come practically to the right-hand side on the halfway to take it. It's almost like being back at Turf Moor with Tom Heaton taking these 3 kicks and Burnley loading the penalty area. Flashback to those moments. Now we've long for those days after the season we've had. Don't forget, we're on all these participating channels. I better give you them as soon as this Everton attack breaks down. We are live across 5 YouTube channels. As Patterson plays the ball down, and it's well cut out by Ake. And it's going to be a throw-in to Everton. So we're live on these following channels. We're on TC Hub, TC Hub 2, I should say, Storm FM, JB Sports, and Paul's new channel, Focus on Football, as the ball comes in towards Calvert-Lewin. Goes whizzing over his head and into the arms of Edison.
So it was an interesting effort there. This is what Dominic Calvert-Lewin is going to be effective for in these last few minutes. Getting onto the high balls to see if he can either head the ball down for one of the other Everton players or maybe get a goal-scoring opportunity from his head. It's very, very dangerous as Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Yes, and we're with you till about 20 past 10 this evening. This was an 8:15 kickoff, incidentally, here at Goodison Park. So it's going to be a late one for myself and Paul tonight. Yeah, by the banks of the River Mersey. At the moment, City's Berry is definitely crossing the Mersey for 3 points. And you have to feel a little bit of sympathy for Everton. They would stay a point ahead of Luton Town still. They are 3rd bottom. Burnley 4 points further back on 11. And And Sheffield United still in single figures in terms of points. Although performances have improved under Wilder. 7 shots to 19 in City's favour. 2 on target for Everton. 7. I think I read it right. 7 on target for City. But City have been, stats-wise, obviously you'd expect them to have the most of everything. But it's not about the stats, it's about the scoreline. They are winning on that, but it is a very close one thing. Well, against Kyle Walker on Mikalenko, although to me it looked the other way around, and what for a moment we're going to have another set 2 there. I think it's more heated on the benches than it is on the field.
Yeah, the temperament's picking up in this game, and you almost would expect it to, because at the end of the day, it's a Northwest derby, and it's got a history, this fixture.
Don't forget, you've got about 8 minutes to get comments in. Please keep your comments clean. I say it every commentary. I haven't said it tonight, though. We are a family show. Everybody around the world can enjoy what we do here, alternate views. Now, the ball not forward. I think there may have been a foul there on Akanji, in fairness there to the Everton player involved. Anyway, here's Foden for Manchester City. He's certainly done his prospects for Euro 2024. No harm with a stunning goal here tonight. Here's Alvarez now. Can he seal the deal for City? Alvarez, left foot over the top of the crossbar and behind for a goal kick to Everton. 6 minutes to go. Still 2-1 for Manchester City, Paul.
Yeah, but they're living dangerously at Everton here. City looking threatening every time they come forward. I can understand Pickford's anxiety at his defence right now.
Indeed. But it's been a good watch, and I hope you're enjoying this at home, folks. Nice bit of Christmas footy to warm the cockles on a cold, windy winter's post-Christmas night. Of course, this is my last commentary of the calendar year for the TC Hub. And I'm going to just take my opportunity to wish everybody on the TC Hub and all our listeners for all the platforms a very happy new year. Hope you all had a good Christmas. Peter Reid there in the hat in the middle there. Next to him, a Burnley legend as well as an Everton legend. You remember him, Paul. Adrian Hinchy Heath.
Oh, I remember Adrian Heath, yeah. Can't forget Adrian Heath, former Claret manager.
And now there's a mistake from Pickford, and the ball's gone in the net. And that surely seals it. It's Bernardo Silva who had a pot shot from outside the area from the right-hand side. Manchester City with 4 minutes to play have surely won the 3 points. They've had to battle for it, but they've been gifted a third and decisive goal by really, really appalling Everton defending. And Jordan Pickford, Paul, may well have to take a lot of the blame. It's 3-1, 4 minutes to go. Manchester City, barring accidents, have all 3 points in the bag.
Yes, absolutely, and Pickford has to own that. That's his mistake. Branthwaite, he played it against Branthwaite. It broke loose off Branthwaite, and there was Bernardo Silva. It was an actually exquisite finish. But yeah, Jordan Pickford has to own that particular error, I'm afraid. That was very, very poor.
Having said that, though, Paul, what about Alvarez in all that? He did absolutely his damnedest to block that. And I think he got a little nick on him, which probably took it straight to Morris Bramford a bit quicker than he might have possibly expected. But having said that, I mean, we've seen 2 cracking goals there for Manchester City in the second half, plus the Foden one. And if you're going to top that, well, wait. And if it does turn out to be a better goal from Bernardo Silva, what a way to top it as well.
Oh, it's been brilliant. I think I personally have been very privileged to be a part of this game. It's been very entertaining from start to finish.
Yes, Bernardo Silva, that's his 6th goal of the season, incidentally, in all competitions. And, well, that looks like the decisive one. Everton, well, the Goodison Park, sadly, is empty. But I think realistically, this was going to be a tough one for Everton tonight. But with City depleted the way they were, and he's obviously brought the banjo with him tonight, Pep Guardiola, because he hit a few cows' backsides in that City changing room at half-time with the banjo. And it's had the desired effect. 88 minutes gone, and we'll get Paul's views on player of the match, sponsored, of course, by Commentary Service for this season. And we're very grateful to Barry Swain's sponsorship of that award. It's Guardiola now for Manchester City. As soon as the ball goes out of play, we'll get Paul James's views on the player of the match. I'm sure there's a few candidates who want to point out as well in a second. So once the 89th minute strikes, it'll be straight to Paul for his choice on player of the match. As Everton now, with Dwight McNeil trying to, or rather, number 10 there, Dejuma trying to fashion something here. Game is up now as Dwight McNeil now. A bit of juggling there from Dwight McNeil. But ran into three City defenders as City come marauding forward with Kovacic. He goes down, no foul. McNeil now, Onana, trying to play it through to Calvert-Lewin. It's going to fall for Edison. So, Paul, the player of the match, please, sponsored by Commentary Services.
Well, it's very easy to give it to one of the goal scorers, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give it to Jack Grealish because of his creativity throughout the game. He's been a constant threat to the Everton defence from start to finish. And when they brought him more into it in the second half, he was being very effective. So today's player of the match, sponsored by Commentary Services, goes to City's number 10, Jack Grealish.
Well, I can tell you that Alan Shearer up on television, and we're sat not too far away from him, has gone for Phil Foden, possibly because of the quality of the goal more than anything else. But I wouldn't disagree too much with Jack Grealish neither, to be fair, because he has had apart from a little bit of bad temperament, he's been pretty good. This is the goal from Foden again. It's a terrific strike with the left foot. I don't think Pickford's got a good view of that, to be fair. I think it goes for a Forest of players, and I don't know how you feel about it. I mean, looked at it from inside the goal, Paul, but I mean, it would have took a lot for Pickford to save that, in fairness. We're going in now into 6 minutes of time added on, incidentally.
Yeah, I looked at it again a couple of times. Maybe I was a little harsh to Pickford for the first time because when it first went in, I thought, oh, maybe Pickford could have done better there. But it really wasn't a beautiful strike, and it just angled in that post.
And Foden, it's hit the post. Sorry to interrupt you, Paul. That would have topped the goal. We were just discussing a minute or two ago. It was a tremendous effort with the left foot again, and it hit the far right-hand post. And if that had gone in, Paul, I think we might have been talking about a goal that's topped that.
Yeah, it was a wonderful strike, wasn't it? Just rattled the post. No chance for Pickford on that one.
And you could hear the thuds all the way from our commentary position. And we were right behind it. It was a terrific strike. And here is the aforementioned Foden again. He's fun of winning, this kid. He's certainly a player who has blossomed into the City team. There was a lot expected of him when he first broke into the City side 3 or 4 seasons ago. But my word, he's a real gem, and he's a real prospect for England going forward. Probably an England captain in the making because the maturity, his knowledge of the game, he's got a good football brain as well. He's got all the attributes to be a future England captain, I feel, Paul.
Agreed. Yeah, most definitely. He's definitely showing maturity way beyond his years. And his ability to influence games as well makes him a significant asset for England and for Manchester City.
Let's hope him and Grealish can, certainly two of those two can stay injury-free, because England are going to need all their A-game players. Harry Kane needs to stay injury-free in Germany, of course. The game's been won. I'm just keeping possession, mind you. I mean, talking to Kane, you watch the German league a lot, of course. Well, you're a German football fan. I mean, Harry Kane is top scorer in Bundesliga, we believe. How well has he actually done for Bayern Munich in terms of his goal scoring ratio?
Oh, he's been outstanding. He's just banging the goals in. The problem that he had in the Premier League is he didn't have as much time on the ball, and he was still able to score a ton of goals in the Premier League. But in the Bundesliga, there's more time on the ball. It's played at a slower pace, so he's able to take advantage of that. And some of his goals are stunning the German Bundesliga. It's stunning some of the top teams in Germany. It's stunning the Bayern Munich fans. And he is really making a name for himself out there at the moment.
Yep. The England captain doing a great job over in Germany at the moment. Probably it was the right move for him at the time, and maybe, just maybe, he might win some individual honours, which has been a criticism levelled at him for the last sort of 10 years or more. But maybe, just maybe, he will get all the rewards that he deserves from a team point of view. As Bowden goes for goal again, and Pickford beats it out. Took a position about 7 or 8 yards off his line. And it was a good save. It was at a good height for Pickford. And to be fair to him, he did rather well.
Yeah. It's Jordan Pickford, apart from that one mistake that he's made towards the end of the game, he's been pretty impressive, to be fair, and he's made some important saves. He's not been helped at times by some of his defenders, but he's done a pretty good job today as Jordan Pickford, in fairness.
As Patterson died gamely to keep it in. There was a cross coming in. Let's just see that again. Left foot. He's lethal with that left foot, isn't he? And that's a terrific bit of goalkeeping. 2 minutes of the 6 to go, incidentally, while we're talking now. That's the other effort, Paul, that hit the post.
Yeah, did you see the post shake? Did you see the goal shake when that ball hit?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. You could just see the standing water coming off the crossbar and down onto the floor. It's just that is just one of those moments. And when you see it slowed down on a replay, it gives it a real good effect. It's almost like watching a FIFA game, really. But it's been a good game. But Edison takes the ball. Well, we've got about a minute of the 6 to go. The game is won. When we look at Sean Dyche, he'll be fuming. I mean, when we look back at this game, Paul, you'd have to say the turning point really was the penalty, which led to the second City goal. Because
absolutely.
1-1, the game was, even though City were on top before that, at 1-1, you still thought the game was still in the balance.
Yeah, I mean, it was still in the balance at that point. The penalty, I think, turned the game. Again, I think it's harsh, but you have to begrudgingly say, under the rules, it's probably the right decision. It just feels unfair because of how close he was to the ball, the positioning of his arms as he's going down, which in my opinion is a natural position for somebody going down on their backside. It's never done logically, is it? It's always down to interpretation, and that way everybody's gonna have a different opinion.
Well, I feel for the referees in that situation, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. John Brooks has angered the Everton faithful even more by giving a free kick against Keane. Although, to be fair, now Goodison Park is practically 3/4 empty at the end of it all. Let's just quickly, we'll go for a couple of comments before we leave you. We're with you until about 10:15 tonight. Don't forget, Paul will be back in your airwaves tomorrow with live commentary of Arsenal against West Ham, the final game of the match week, as the whistle sounds for the end of the game. Sean Dyche and Pep Guardiola, well, at least it ends all smiles at the end. Well, at least they've shook hands. I'm not sure if they're all smiles, but certainly Manchester City are all smiles. They trailed to a goal from Jack Harrison after 29 minutes, but then they took control. Bowden got them back in it with a 25-yard left-footed intercept. Jack Grealish is still mad. Just get off the field, Jack. Don't
There's
complain
no
to the
need
referee.
for him to continue. No need for him to continue.
The assistant manager's trying to get him off the field. There's no need for it. There's absolutely no need for it. He's done a terrific job. And then, obviously, Foden got the equaliser. Alvarez then with that disputed penalty. And then Silva on 86 minutes deciding the game as Pep Guardiola shakes hands with the referee as well. World champions, I'm just seeing now on the banner. Blue Moon now signals around the famous old ground. But for so long tonight, Paul, it did look like it was going to be an Everton victory here as the crowd now disperse. But well, it's been let's just read a few comments before we get your final thoughts, Paul. Really poor defending from Everton, but City deserved a win on second half performance, and they've shown their class in the second 45 and shown exactly why they're winning champions. As for the England situation, Bellingham needs to stay fit. Yes, we didn't mention Jude Bellingham as well. He's ripping it up for Real Madrid as well. And Russ says, great work, chaps. Well, we look at the game now as a whole. Obviously, the penalty is going to be discussed long into the night here at Goodison, but when you look back and dissect it into a million tiny pieces and then put it all together again, on the second half performance alone, I think Manchester City, when we look at it logically and dispassionately, City were worthy of the 3 points.
Yeah, second half performance, they were well on top of things, in the second half. They come out looking at, and they did a very professional job on Everton, very professional job. Their abilities, Jack Grealish's, Phil Foden's, they all shone through, and they were all brilliant in the second half. And that's coming from someone who is by far from a City fan. But you have to take your hat off to them when they play like that, and it really just display their talents and their abilities and why they are indeed Premier League champions.
Exactly, and they showed why they are true champions. The way that they battled back from adversity, they were 1-0 down, and all that. The City fans are still there chanting, and that's good. The togetherness between the players and the fans is there for all to see. And Pep Guardiola encourages that a lot, you notice. But when we look back at it again, Everton, they led at half-time, Paul, and Sean Dyche will probably look back at that penalty decision aside, and they'll think that was a missed opportunity to cause a real upset tonight, really fallen by the wayside here.
Yeah, I mean, it's the second half. I think the problem with Everton in the second half is they step back. They stop pressing City, and when they stop pressing City, and when you step back and give them time to control the game at their own tempo, then that's when they destroy you. That's when they destroy you. When you step back and you allow them to just play the ball around at their own tempo, they slowly but surely destroy you. And in the second half, I think Everton stepped back and they allowed City to take control of the game.
Thanks very much, Paul. Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you for your contribution tonight. Let's just before we leave you tonight, let's just recap what's happened elsewhere as well. At the Brentford, the GTEC Community Stadium, Brentford 1, Wolves 4. Lamina, Wang with a brace, and Bergrad for Wolves. Visa replying after 16 minutes in that one. Brentford dropping like a stone now. They're down in 14th place. They're dropping like a stone at the moment. Chelsea won with a disputed penalty scored by Madaluke. Mudryk had put Chelsea ahead on 13 minutes, and Michael Elise leveled it up for Palace after 45. They're not out of the woods yet. It's getting a little bit congested out there. If only Berwick could start putting some results together, then it would be even more congested. But I said that soon as mended. Elsewhere, up in Scotland, the Edinburgh Derby's been going on tonight, of course. And in the Scottish Premiership, it finished. That game ended Hibernian 0, Hearts 1. The Jam Tarts winning there. Shankland with a goal in the affirmative stoppage time, but there were 2 penalties missed in that game. Shankland himself missed one after 6 minutes, and Boyle missed one after 15. But Lawrence Shankland made up for his miss and scored the late goal. So the bragging rights in Edinburgh belong to Hearts. In the other 2 Premiership games up in Scotland, Marley Watkins, the Welshman, scoring the only goal which wins Killy the 3 points at Love Street against St Mirren. And in the game between Livingston and St Johnstone, well, they're the bottom team, and and you can understand why they're the bottom team. Winless run has now stretched through 11 games. St Johnstone holding them to no goals. So Manchester City, let's just go back to the Premier League then, and then results tonight. But Manchester City ahead of Tottenham in the top 4. They moved now to 37 points into 4th place from 18 games played. The 2 points behind Villa, who sit 3rd on 39 points with 19 games played. Arsenal play tomorrow. You can hear that with Paul on the TC Hub. 40 points from 18 games, and Liverpool, having played 19 games, 42 points, top of the league. At the other end, Everton stay exactly where they are, 16 points from 19 games in 17th place, a point above Luton Town. So no crumb of comfort there. So that is about it from us tonight here at Goodison Park. For 45 minutes, it looked as if Everton were going to get the result they so desperately craved to keep their good home record going. But Manchester City showed what they were all about. true champion's grip. There was some controversial moments. Was the City penalty the right decision? Well, that's up to other people to decide, but you cannot deny their fighting spirit and their true grit and true champion status. Don't forget, Paul will be with you tomorrow on the TC Hub on all platforms as he brings you Arsenal against West Ham, which could be an explosive London derby. Join him for that if you can on all platforms. But for me, JB, have a fantastic new year. This is my last commentary of the calendar year, so have a fantastic new year. I hope you've had a lovely Christmas. And we leave you with the news that Manchester City are back in the top 4. They have come from behind to beat Everton by 3-1. From Paul and myself at Goodison Park, a very good night and a happy new year to you all.